Oh, hey everybody, BOOZHOO, and welcome back to the show. Welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am NANABOOZHOO, coming to you live from on top of the house. I teleported up here to start the show. I wanted to see what the weather was like, but I better go back to the studio.
Okay, hey, BOOZHOO.
Hi, sweetie.
Well, hi, NANABOOZHOO. You want to come home?
Yeah, can you teleport me back down to the studio?
You got it. Hang on, I'm going to scan for your coordinates.
All right.
Okay, 1 to teleport.
Make it so, number 1.
All right. Hey, baby doll.
Well, hi.
How you doing?
I'm great.
How is it outside?
It's cloudy, but warm and mild.
Hey, those are our Ojibwe words of the day.
What? Are you kidding me? It's almost like we planned this.
I know, huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and talented Natasha. Ikadom BOOZHOO, Weenie Mushane.
BOOZHOO, Gakina. Hello, everyone.
Oh, look who's over here. The rock star cartoonist, Michael Lyons. Ikadon BOOZHOO Niji. Say hello, brother. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. And, so here we are on a cloudy, warm, and mild day with none other than Diane. BOOZHOO, Diane.
Is Diane here?
She sure is.
Well, BOOZHOO, Diane.
How you doing? Today we were going to talk about, Ningwanaquad. It is cloudy. But, Abawa. It is warm and mild. Ningwanaquad. It's cloudy. Abawa. It is warm and mild. And I think that's all I have to say about the weather. Hugs and kisses. We're getting hugs and kisses from Diane.
Hey, Diane. Right back at you, my girl.
I wanted to be with you alone, Diane, and talk about the weather. Talk about the wabuk, the weather. Nothing controversial about talking about the weather. We're living in an age where people are afraid to talk about their opinions, just to discuss ideas. It's become a very triggering time. But that's why if you're from a small town, you can always just talk about the weather. There's nothing controversial about the weather.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah?
You want to take a call?
Oh, sure. What call? What line?
On line 2.
Hello, caller. Welcome to the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. You're on the air.
How dare you!
Oh, geez. Is this Greta Thunberg?
This is Greta Thunberg. I am calling about the weather.
Sweetie, it's that little girl about climate change and that. Greta Thunberg.
Well, hi, Greta. How dare you, Natasha? What did I do? You come to us looking for hope, and you say that the weather is not controversial? It is global warming.
What?
The world is going to die. We're going to warm. We're burning up. You must stop driving your pickup.
Yeah, I pretty much have. I mean, we got that jumper. We can jump the battery now, but I don't know. Kind of used to not driving. Anyway, so you're saying even the weather's controversial?
Yes, it's very controversial. You must believe. You come to us looking for hope. You come to us looking for answers. Us, the children.
Not really. Was I coming to Greta Thunberg for anything?
I thought we were coming to her looking for hope.
Oh, right. Yeah. I hope you quit wagging your finger in my face. How you been, Greta?
Oh, not too bad. I'm so scared of global warming.
Yeah, I know you are. Have you finished high school yet?
Oh, I don't go to school. I have to save the world.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Hey, NANABOOZHOO.
Yes, dear?
What is the word for Thursday in Ojibwe?
Oh, we say, thanks for asking. It's Neo Gisha Good. This is the 4th day. Neo Gisha Good.
Neo Gisha God. It is the 4th day or Thursday. Oh.
Yep. All right, listen, I got to let you go, Greta. Anything else I can do for you before I hang up on you?
Oh, no, just, you dare! How dare you!
Yep. Hey, here's a phrase. When we say goodbye, we don't say goodbye. We say, I will see you again. Gigawaba min. Minawa.
Gigawaba min. Minawa. NANABOOZHOO.
Yep, you too, Greta. Yeah, you know, she's a dumb kid. I can't get mad at her.
I know. She's, her heart's in the right place.
Yeah. But you can't try to scare a Minnesotan with global warming. I mean, come on. We would welcome that, all right? You know, like, where do I sign up to make it warm up faster? I don't know. Oh, but Greta, I wish I had told her this. I think she should stay away from that Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, he's no good for her. You can't trust him around young women.
Yeah, I know, that's my point. Leonardo DiCaprio is kind of a creep, you know. And I get the sense he's been sort of grooming her to be part of his harem on one of his yachts.
Yeah, one of those big old private yachts that he floats around in, complaining about global warming.
Yeah, there's some carbon footprint. Be a movie star. Anyway, hey, Gwen Carly, BOOZHOO. We were just talking to Greta Thunberg, little Norwegian girl or Swedish girl or wherever she's from. Was pretty disappointed with her elders. And she's pretty high opinion of what she thinks her generation represents. No, we don't look for the children for hope anymore. We stopped doing that in the 80s. You know. Which brings up, speaking of the 80s. So, Greta was talking about something. Culture. Or maybe I was talking about culture. And identity. And all this stuff. Oh, hey, congratulations to Rachel Levine.
Oh, what'd he do?
Well, he won Woman of the Year. Rachel Levine, we were just talking about him yesterday. He's that transgender guy who works for the government. He's not the Surgeon General. He's not the guy who's telling you not to smoke or whatever. He's like the Lieutenant something of health. He's got a weird name, but he was appointed some high-paying position to serve in the government, and he's transgendered. He identifies as a woman. And yesterday, People magazine, or one of these publications nobody reads, named him in the spirit of Caitlyn Jenner years ago as Woman of the Year. So take that, ladies.
What?
Men are better at women and at everything, including being a woman.
No, they're not.
What?
Well, you can't say that. Rachel Levine's not a woman.
Rachel Levine is a woman. Haven't you read the propaganda? Trans women are women. So I think it's great. Way to go, buddy. You show them ladies what it's like to be a lady. They don't even know. Stupid ladies. And the inspiration, for any young girl watching who wants to, lead or have a career in the military. It's like, yeah, good luck. You're going to be competing against women like Rachel Levine. The brave and the beautiful. The stunning and the brave. Like, remember when Caitlyn Jenner came out? They were like, stunning. It's like, yeah, we were all stunned. I'll give you that much. I was like, what'd you do? What'd you do to yourself, Bruce? But anyway, so identity. Nobody's looking to the kids for hope or anything. It's a stupid idea. If you're a grown-up and you want to look to the wisdom of children, good luck with that. But today's show is called Thunderheart, because I was looking at weather words and I came across Anamakika, thunder. And then Ode is somebody's heart. Ninde, my heart. Gidde, your heart. Good day, mate. But Ode is a heart, just any heart. Anamakika Ode is Thunderheart. And this is the story of, excuse me, this is the Dabajimoan of Thunderheart, a story of cultural identity. You see, what's his name? Thunderheart? The actor? Yeah. We should have thought of this before we decided to do a review of a movie. Yeah, I love that guy. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer! Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is what we call a Wisakode Winini. He's mixed blood. And before he was in the FBI's, before he was in the freaking big Indians, no, before he was in the full-blooded Indians, or the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Val Kilmer was in the Navy. I think it was or the Air Force. Whatever Top Gun is. It's got to be the Air Force, right? They fly planes. Well, that makes sense, but something tells me the Navy has planes. But no, you're right. That's the Air Force. So Val Kilmer, he grew up and he joined the Top Gun. He became a pilot, right? But more importantly, he became a volleyball player. And Val Kilmer loved to play volleyball. He played it all through his time serving in the military. He fought fighter jets on the side. They called him Goose. Goose. You know what that means? Yeah, I know what that means. Because he was a silly goose. Right. And, but the day came when he finally had to retire from volleyball playing. From shirtless volleyball playing, his one true passion. And he went to Tom Cruise, and he goes, listen, Tom, I've heard what you had to say about the Church of Scientology. I'm not interested. You guys are weird. You believe in outer space and aliens and stuff. And, no thank you. I was here for the shirtless volleyball. I was all on board for that, but now I must retire. And off he went. And he got a job with the FBI. Well, things were going great for Val for a while. He was working in the FBI. Shooting guns, wearing a suit, tie. Living in Washington, D.C., driving a convertible. And day came when a boss comes in and he's like, hey, can I talk to you? I got a very special mission for you. I want you to go out to Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, or Bear Creek, or whatever we're calling it. We're gonna go out. You're gonna go out to it, the Dakota people, because we looked at your file. It says here you're part Indian. And Val goes, well, yeah. My dad was Indian, but I never even knew him. He was just an old drunk. Left me and my ma. We moved out here to Washington, D.C. I don't know nothing about Indians. He goes, well, those are your people. We want you to go out there and investigate a murder or something. This is a mop-up job. You go in there, you wave your Indian card around, say, hey, cuz, what happened here? I'm from the FBI, but I'm also an Indian. And Thunderheart, or Val Kilmer, he was all like, I don't know, man. I feel uncomfortable. I've been walking around just like a regular white guy. I don't like being reminded that, I had an Indian dad and a reservation life I don't remember anything about much. But okay, fine. If you want me to do this, I'll go out to the res and I'll investigate this murder. So off he goes. He flies out to Pine Ridge Reservation, lands there, he meets another FBI agent, and the guy's all like, oh, hey, yeah, welcome back to your res, And all the Indians are like, oh, look, here comes the big old Washington Redskin, And pretty soon he's investigating this murder. And he comes across old Kicking Bird. Not Kicking Bird. Wait, what movie is this? This is Thunderheart. Well, he comes across Graham Greene. And not a lot of people know this, but Graham Greene is also a cop. A motorcycle cop on the res. And, they become buddies after a while. At first, it's not they don't really like each other at first. Graham Greene's, making him feel all out of his element, You can tell Val Kilmer doesn't know any he calls him like an apple. Oh yeah, you're red on the outside, but you're white on the inside, aren't you? Well, through the course of the next few days, Val here, he meets an elder. He has a vision. Kind of gets a crush on this one school teacher. Buys some groceries for this elder. Beats up a bunch of rednecks. But he starts to learn about himself. And the community starts to tell him about his father. And about his family and his Indian line. They're like, yeah, man, your grandfather was a Thunderheart. You come from a line of warriors and this and that. And Val Kilmer's not really knowing. The longer he's there, the more he learns that his FBI buddies and the white guys are kind of the bad guys. That they're not what they say they are. That maybe that they were somehow involved. And sure enough, he finds out, yep, the FBI guys have been arming the, I guess it would be, I don't know, the one faction that's sympathetic to the government to kind of go against and around, like the tribal government and the traditionals. But anyway, throughout the course of the movie, something happens to him. His identity changes. And the elders start to see him as the end of his lineage. And they tell him, run to Deer Creek Table or whatever it is. The cavalry is coming. Run to the hills, Thunderheart. Run to the hills. Run for your life. Run to the hills. Run for your life. Nah, I love Iron Maiden. I know you do. But Thunderheart, it's all about cultural identity. And what is cultural identity? How you identify. Everybody's cool when you identify as the other gender. In spite of what people want you to think. It really isn't. Nah, that's not true. People aren't really that cool. I mean, once you do it, no one's going to give you a hard time. But it's a big debate now. My son identifies as a girl now. My girl identifies as a boy, so we changed her name. And I want you to... I'm my preferred pronoun. Whatever. But there's kind of a unique thing that happens to a lot of mixed-blooded Indians. They... Or Indian people too who don't live around other Indian people. They moved away. You live in another city. And nobody even maybe can even tell that you're Indian. They think, oh, there goes that white guy. But inside you've got this cultural you know, you're the descendant of, you know, all that stuff that went on. You are the seventh generation, you know. So sometimes, you know, for a lot of Indian people, there's like a calling it's almost like, you know, like Vulcans in Star Trek, weird stuff happens to them like every 7 years. They have to go back to the home planet or something. Yeah, I don't remember the details. Yeah, me either. But Indian people, lots of times there'll be like an awakening or a burning in your belly that goes, you know what, you should learn your language. You know what? You know, you start asking your grandma or your aunties stories about your own family. Like, what's the deal with us now? With us. Meaning, how did my ancestors live? What kind of Indians were we? What was our clan? Where did we live? What language did we speak? Are we, you know, like there's that great scene in Smoke Signals where Victor tells Thomas, you got to look like you just came back from killing a buffalo. You're going to look like a real Indian. And Thomas goes, but we never hunted buffalo. We were fishermen. Victor goes, you want to look like you just came back from catching a fish? This ain't Dances with Salmon, you know. But your cultural identity. So for Val Kilmer, he, or whatever his name was in the movie, you know, he was a Wisa Kode Winini. He was a mixed blood. He had something in him that wanted to be recognized, that he had to address. And by the end of the movie, you'll notice he doesn't wear a tie anymore. He doesn't wear a blazer. He's giving away his fancy watch and his expensive sunglasses. And instead, he had a old beat-up res runner, old beat-up car. He's wearing a t-shirt and jeans. And the old grandpa gave him a pipe. And that's where a lot of Indians for the first time hear that. They heard Graham Greene tell them they're about to say goodbye. And Graham Greene goes, you know, if you ever want to come back, someplace to listen to the wind, you know where to find us. And Val Kilmer wants to say goodbye. He goes, listen, man. He goes, no. There ain't no word for goodbye in our language. And that was true of Ojibwe too. That's why we're always saying, Gigawa min, minawa. I'll see you again. You know? It's crazy. But it's as real. I know for me, when I turned about 30, I kind of felt like a burning, sort of like stories of transgender people. It was like, oh, inside I was a pretty butterfly waiting to be born. And so it wasn't until I put on a dress and makeup and a wig and long nails and whatever that was my true self. Well, for some Indian people, it's when they grow out their hair and, you know, they start to dress more casually or something. You start to wear a softball jacket with a medicine wheel on the back. You know, it's because they're claiming their cultural identity. You know, it's not a thing that people talk about much. Some of us aren't even that aware that it's happening, you know. I think that's part of the, like, there's sometimes there's sort of there's something kind of therapeutic about going to powwows. Like, people are like, you know, I kind of want to be around a bunch of Indian people. It's like, why? You know, I don't know. Because I need to sort of exercise my cultural identity. I need to see my cousins, be reminded of what our type of humor is. You know, I don't know. Eat the kind of food that Indian people eat. You know. I've heard some people they'll even treat like diabetes. there's treatments for diabetes, especially if you're like a full-blooded Indian or whatever. Well, they put you on a strict traditional diet. It's like, look, you're going to eat nothing but wild rice here for a while, okay? You can have a little bit of fish now and then, and around Thanksgiving or something, you'll have some venison. But we're going to go hardcore the way they ate before we got commodities. And guess what? We didn't eat venison for every meal. We ate a lot of rice. Probably fish, when we were lucky. But, Indian people were skinny back in the day when they ate that stuff. But our bodies respond to that kind of food. A lot of Indian people are lactose intolerant. And even like mixed blood people will be like, yeah, no, I hate ice cream. I can't do it. Get me the runs. I get the farts. I got to boog it. I got to boog it. I like the nightlife. I got to boog it. Sometimes Indian people, it's like, I think that's why I liked hanging around with my grandma and my grandpa when he was alive so much, when they were both alive. Because, I grew up, off the res. I mean, it wasn't very far off the res, but, LaPorte was a border town. It was mostly non-Indian people. And, I don't know. I always had a tan and that kind of stuff, so everybody knew I was Indian, but, you go off to college and all your music, all your favorite bands are from Europe. Oh, I'm really into the English beat, whatever. So Thunderheart was, it was like a coming of age story for cultural identity. That's the day when you kind of assume that that'd be because of his experience. Like his life was changed forever. His very identity, his priorities, and the way he would walk the earth. It's a great movie, though. It's kind of like the 1970s version of Dance of the Wolves. Yeah. Thunderheart, la 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 la. If I was ever a superhero, that'd be my superhero name. Thunderheart. Yeah. My symbol on my chest would be a heart with a lightning bolt in it. That was the symbol for my grandpa's Guadalcanal Army troop, whatever. Really? Yeah, I just thought of that. It was a Thunderheart. My grandpa was an Ogichida, a warrior, a real warrior. Ogichida means a guy who fights in a war. It doesn't mean a guy who plays on a basketball team. You're not an Ogichida just because you signed up for college. That's been my thing. Yeah, you hate that, huh? Yeah. People just throwing around, oh, you're a real Ogichida. You got an A on your report card. Oh, that's my boy. Go Ogichida. It's like easy. We had Ogichidas, Ogichidawag in our communities. The real warriors, like our grandfathers. Back in the days of the grandfathers, there was a war, World War II, they called it. And in those days, the cultural identity of an Indian had a lot to do with being a warrior. They didn't care about stuff like, oh, hey, look at me, I'm the toughest Indian in the world. I can play a song on a drum. Oh, look at me, I'm a real Ogichida. I'm singing. No, you're a singer. But during World War II, the Indians all signed up for war. And it wasn't like they said, oh, where's the Indian army? They signed up to the U.S. government war. They went across the sea with all the guys. A very popular war to sign up for. I mean, I think they had the draft, but I don't know anybody who waited around to be drafted for World War II. They just signed up. Because by that generation, my grandpa and his brothers and their cousins and that, this was a whole generation of Indian men who grew up in boarding schools. And so they knew about, and in boarding school, they always had calisthenics, marches, military kind of training in the mornings, for the boys at least. And these were all rural hunter fishermen guys and outdoorsmen, lumberjacks and stuff. So they all knew about guns. And so the idea of embracing that warrior identity and, given a license to kill and a free gun, the Indians were like, yeah, let's do that. So they joined up, and my grandpa went off to the Philippines. They were fighting the Japanese, is the story I always heard. To me, the World War II, like I knew there was Hitler and the Jewish stuff, and then I knew my grandpa fought in a war against Japanese guys in a jungle. I remember being confused, going, what? Was my grandpa in Vietnam? How old is that guy? But he was like one of those guys, stormed the beach in the Philippines. And years later, I would get this decal from his Guadalcanal troop. They all had like special names. We're the 154th Infantry, the Stormin', whatevers. And I should find it, because the symbol for my grandpa's troop was a heart, and it wasn't like a Valentine's heart. It was shaped like the human heart. And inside the heart was a lightning bolt. And I don't remember what they were called. They might have been called like the 154th THUNDERHEART, troop. But he stormed the beaches, lost his gun because the boat capsized. Guys are shooting at them as the Americans trying to get on, or invading their island or whatever, the Philippines. And you know how army guys all have backpacks and stuff? My grandpa had a shovel. I shouldn't laugh, but he took that shovel and eventually found a Japanese guy, and he said he conked him over the head with his shovel and stole his gun. Started shooting, had a Japanese, because now I got the gun. And he would have said it like that, conked him on the head, but I imagine he killed him. Anyway, and that was the beginning of 3 years of fighting and getting shot at. And he was nearby a landmine that got set off. Somebody else died next to him. And he got shrapnel up his butt. Not up his butt, up his thigh. I shouldn't have said it that way. But on his butt and stuff. So he had a Purple Heart. But, that guy was an Ojibwe. He wasn't, he was a real warrior. Let's quit watering down the term Ojibwe. But sometimes people were like surprised when they'd hear about how many of the Native American guys are veterans. And what a big deal. There's all this like pro-America stuff at a powwow. They have the Veterans March. And they have the American flag. You would swear it was a Trump rally with all the pickups and the American flags. But, what's the flag song? This is the first song in a powwow. Way, way down. Hey, way down, hey, weda, we ho, ya we ho, ya we ho, weda ho, weda ho, we ya, hey, ya, hey, ho. Is a version. Of course, the other singers usually sing much higher than that. But, and then all they, that's the flag song, and they bring in veterans and the important elders and stuff. We'll be the first guys there holding up the flags, the prisoner of war flag, the American flag, maybe the tribal flag or something. And then there's the veterans march or whatever. Special veteran song. They'll have an honor song, and they'll invite all the veterans to come out, and just the veterans. If somebody drops a feather in a powwow, they'll ask the veterans, and only veterans, people who've seen war, Ogichida, to come and dance and make it okay to pick up that feather. Do a ceremony, I remember when I was in college, people would question, why would a Native American want to fight for the U.S. government? I don't, It's like, yeah, no. You gotta understand their cultural identity of a World War II era, our grandfathers, they thought themselves as Indians, as warriors. So when there's a war, it's not about, no, those guys stole my land. It was about, we gotta fight this war. That's what an Indian does. In theory, I guess you could say, oh, I'm protecting my family in that. But, hey, surrealist, meekwatch. What is it? Surrealist, just give us $20. Okay, meekwatch surrealist. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support the show, you can be like surrealist here and give us a super chat. We also have links to Patreon, PayPal, and GoFundMe. Because I'm a real Ogichida, sweetie.
Yeah.
I'm a podcasting Ogichida. But so that was my grandpa, That was one chapter of his life that he didn't talk about much. But he survived and fought in a war and came back home to, end up making the rest of us, live with my grandma for the rest of his life. Because that's the other thing, those boarding school kids, when they grew up, they were tough. I mean, say what you will about all the hardships and the abuse of the boarding schools, but the kids who survived it, they really toughened them up. They made good soldiers. My grandma, when my grandpa went off to war, she was one of those Rosie the Riveters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she worked for the airline. She would she would clean the turrets or whatever, or the machine guns, or whatever those things were. And worked down in St. Paul for a couple of years. My dad was a baby down there while my grandpa was at war. And no, she was not a feminist. But that image of the woman working a blue-collar job with a wrench and doing riveting, that's airline work. Not airline, but airplane work. That's what my grandma did. Grandma was tough, too. How did I become such a mamby-pamby little artist boy?
I don't know. You have tough ancestors.
Yeah. My grandma was tough and physically just sturdy. She was one of those old grandmas that had broad shoulders and big boobs, when she was younger anyway. She was just a hefty, chubby, she had grandma arms, meaning they were big, but she never had grandma arms that swung. She had thick, strong arms. She was one of those ladies, who would she look like in pop culture? I mean, she was from that generation of Mayberry, so she had old lady hair, but she was a hardy, strong woman. But my grandpa, he was real thin. He was built kind of like Barney and Mayberry.
Yeah.
So that's where I get my skinniness. But he was he was strong, tough like a nail. But funny. I get that from him. Anyway, identity. So what's your identity? How do you identify? Do you identify based on what TV, gave you? Oh, I'm a goth kid. Oh, me, I'm kind of a redneck. Me, I'm gender fluid. Ugh. No. I'm go back and forth. I'm non-binary. You can't. I identify as Rachel Levine. How about that?
Yeah.
I'd like to thank, on behalf of myself, Rachel Levine, me. That's how I identify. I would prefer if you referred to me as she, her, and then call me the Lieutenant Health General, whatever title I am. But as Rachel Levine, me, I would like to thank People Magazine for making me Woman of the Year, because that's what I am. I'm the Woman of the Year. Me, Rachel Levine. Best woman ever. Or of the year, anyway.
Congratulations, Rachel Levine.
Thank you so much, sweetie.
I'm proud of you.
Okay, relax. I'm just making light of a subject that people get triggered about. Hey, here comes Grassroots Indians. Okay, hey, bury my heart at Wounded Knee. Bury my heart at Wounded Knee. BOOZHOO, Grassroots. Good to see you, buddy. La la. Hey, that DCG is back.
Oh, from San Francisco?
BOOZHOO, DCG 246. Nice to see you. The Navajo language was used as code to keep the Japanese from deciphering our messages. Yeah, I love that movie with, what's his face? Code Talkers?
Yeah, Victor was in that movie.
That's right, Adam Beach was in that. Yeah, that's what I picture my grandpa going through, was Code Talkers. But yeah, the Navajo guys, because kind of like in Ojibwe, it was like 2 layers deep. Number one, there was no way the Japanese could find a Navajo dictionary, something that would translate Navajo into English, let alone English then back in Japanese and all that. But then their language would also translate in a goofy way because it was after the fact. So like I remember in the movie, the word for tank in Navajo, they called it like turtle shell, or something like that. Kind of like in our language, like when we call white people, we would call them the long knives. And so if somebody was listening to Dakota people saying, they keep on talking about about marrying these long knives. What is a hot blonde long knife? These Ojibways keep talking about the chimukamans, the long knife, the great knives. Oh, here comes some hottie chimokaman kwe. What is a chimokaman kwe? Oh, let's look it up. It says a great knife woman. Do those women have swords? I don't know. You'd have to understand our culture to understand that the sword symbolizes the first non-Indian people that come here. So our word for those people now, today, you see a Scandinavian guy, you still call him a chimokaman. Or here comes an Italian chimoke. But the Navajos are sheep whisperers. Sheep whisperers, cool. I never saw a horse whisperer. I think I like anybody who whispers to animals. Psst, hey, you want to go for a ride? You want to go for a walk? Come on, boy. You can whisper anything to a dog and they get all excited. Want to go for a ride? You want to get up here, Sweetie? Sure. All right, I'm going to let Natasha get up here and talk at you for a while. Should I play a song? Gonna play Never Coming Back Here Again? I just might. We didn't play Wake and Bake, did we? No. Can either do Wake and Bake or Never Coming Back Here Again. Let's do Wake and Bake, and then I'll tell the story of Never Coming Back Here Again. All right. Up next, Natasha, Miigwech Bizendawieg. Thank you for listening. But it's got nothing to do with you. I've got no one, still you won't do. And after today I'd say we are hard quite through. But I know you won't break down, you won't miss a step, you won't be around, and you'll never forget it. One day, when I'm old and gray, I might look back and say that these were the golden days. And one day, when I'm old and I'm gray, I might look back and say this was the price I paid. So it goes, or so they say. Time's like a mountainscape. Well, I don't know, but I can't complain. God knows I've got my own escape. And sometimes I just might, even in the middle of the night. Well, sometimes and someday, sometimes, well, I wake and bake. But it's got nothing to do with you. I've got no one, still you won't do. And after today I'd say we are hard quite through. But I know you won't break down, you won't miss a step, you won't be around, and you'll never regret it. One day, when I'm old and gray, I might look back and say that these were the golden days. And one day, when I'm old and I'm gray, I might look back and say this was the price I paid. Even in the middle of the day. Stephen grins a little, so they say. Sometimes, well, I wake and bake. BOOZHOO! And welcome to Auntie Natasha's Aguaching Nabuacoin. Auntie Natasha's outside wisdom. Nah. How you doing? Natasha Nindisha Nakaz. Natasha's my name. Neiman Wyndham. G-A-I-N. Omanungum. I'm happy to be here today.
and thought I would just come outside, see how things are. Starting to warm up, but the snow is still here. Of course, it's going to take a while for all this snow to melt. But, yeah. La 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 la, do 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 do. Thursday, Neo Gishagon. Anyway, what was I going to talk about? Oh, I was going to talk about the song Never Coming Back Here Again. Today we're going to close out the show in a little while with a song that Michael Lyons wrote. You know Michael Lyons, he's that rock star cartoonist guy. Well, a lot of his songs, you might notice, are kind of sad. It seems like he only writes songs after he breaks up with somebody. But Michael has he's told the story about Never Come Back. It's about breaking up. And I want to talk a little bit about breaking up. This is for the kids. Heartbreak. Yeah, you're not going to get through this life without some heartbreak. Yesterday we were talking about grief. Gush came to mowing about being sad or whatever. One type of grief is breaking up. When somebody rejects you and, I don't love you. I don't love you anymore. You're too fat. Whatever. You're too old. Ick. That can hurt your heart, give you heartbreak. And then there's the other kind where you're the breaker-upper. And you have to break somebody's heart. I don't love you anymore. You're too fat. Whatever it is. But that can also make you sad because it hurts to hurt somebody else and have to reject someone. Unless you're heartless. If you don't have an day. But Never Coming Back Here Again is about that feeling, after you break up with somebody. Usually it's not like the movies. It's not, you're really mad and they did something bad and it's cut and dry. It's like getting fired. Oh, you're fired. You're dumped, Usually in life, it's like a long conversation or two. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld once said, breaking up is like tipping over a pop machine. You can't do it in just one push. You got to kind of rock it back and forth. Sometimes people break up and then get back together. And then break up and then get back together. And then break up, and they keep trying to break up. And you can't break up. That's what it was like for Michael and Jennifer. I wonder if she ever watches this show. Well, Michael and Jennifer were together for a few years. And when they broke, it's hard to say when they broke up. Because they were breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, trying to stay friends. But then they'd become more than friends. And then they'd break up again. But ultimately, they broke up when she moved away. Jennifer graduated and went off to graduate school. And Michael stayed back in his basement apartment. And his acoustic guitar and his comic strips. But then they kept talking on the phone and saying, I love you. And pretty soon she's like, will you come visit me? And Michael thought, well, I'll go visit her one last time and break up with her in person. It's the noble thing to do. You shouldn't do it over the phone. Do you know that, what was his name? I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Phil Collins, when he broke up with his wife the first time, after he remarried her and broke up with her a second time, but the first time, he sent her a fax. It was like in the 90s, before people had email. And he wrote a little letter saying, we're done, and faxed it to her. I remember thinking, that was cold. But But so Michael wanted to go face to face one last weekend and break up with her in person. But the problem is, when you go to break up with somebody, you have to understand that they may not be so happy to hear the news that you're breaking up with them. And if you've arranged to be a house guest at said dumpy, if you're the dumper, they're the dumpy. Michael got there and realized, well, I can't break up with her in the first night because she might kick me out. And he didn't have any money, didn't know anybody in her town. And so didn't do it in the first night. Second night comes and goes, didn't do it again. Now it's Sunday morning and they got to get to the train station real early. And there was a morning mist. I think that's in the song. Goodbye kiss in this morning mist. But they race out to the train and Michael realizes he never said they were broken up. And he got on that train, he looked back at her. She was smiling but crying. They had just kissed for the last time and said, I love you. And he looked at her and it occurred to him that he doesn't know. He said to himself, I don't know what's going to happen. I didn't do it. I somehow blew off breaking up with this girl for 3 days in a row. Took this whole trip to Indiana on an Amtrak. It took like 18 hours or something crazy. And he didn't do it. Because I don't know what's going to happen. But what I do know is I'm never coming back here again. And on the way home, he wrote this song, Never Coming Back Here Again. Tomorrow I'll say we can still be friends, but I'm never coming back here again. Okay, I'm just going to play it. Here, let me go back, and then we'll play the song. Boop.
Okay, BOOZHOO.
Hi, sweetie.
You ready to come home?
Yeah, I want to play the Never Coming Back Here Again song.
Oh, okay. Let me pick you up.
All right.
Hang on, I'm scanning for your coordinates.
All right.
All right, when to teleport?
Make it so, number one. Nah.
It's not working.
Remember, you got to jiggle the wire.
Yeah, I'm jiggling the wire.
You got to jiggle the wire and then push the button, but hold the button down.
Push and hold the button. Hey, welcome back.
Thank you, sweetie. Did you figure it out?
Yep. You have to kind of push the button down and hold it, but then also don't stop wiggling at the same time. There's like a short or something in there.
Yeah, huh? Anyway, so here is Never Coming Back Here Again by Michael Lyons with NANABOOZHOO and my help.
Never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. Tomorrow I'll say we can still be friends, but I'm never coming back here again. I was caught for 3 long years, lost in the thoughts of a young man's fears. I cannot swim in a sea of tears. I found you out and then I disappeared. Now I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. I'm never coming back here again. is yours, but what's yours is his. So I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. This is it now, this is the end. I'm never coming back here again. Oh, oh, oh. This is it now, this is the end. Tomorrow I'll say we can still be friends, but I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again. I'm never coming back here again.
I'm never coming back here again.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
This is it now, this is the end. Do you suppose on our last show we'll have to play that song?
Yeah, either that or good night, sleep tight, and let your dreams come true with a whip and a prayer. Da, da, da.
Yeah, what's that?
That's Lawrence Welk.
Oh yeah, Lawrence Welk. Well, everybody, good night. Good night. Sleep tight. La 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 la. I think Wally Bear's going to bed.
Did he do another all-nighter?
Yeah, he's got to work all night. He goes, long, boring night at work. I'm just about to go to sleep. Good night, Wally Bear. May your dreams come true. La la la. Do do do. Au revoir. Yeah, I think they say good night or something in a lot of different languages. Gigawabamin. Minoa. All right, what did we learn today, sweetie?
Absolutely nothing.
Gnocchis are good. It's the fourth day. We learned that.
We already knew that.
All right. Ning Wanaquad. It is cloudy. Oh, what? Cloudy? Ning Wanaquad. Must be the chemtrails. It's the chemtrails in the skies, you guys. Come on. Abawa. Abawa. 2 A's are like in father. 1 A is like in what? And 2 A's is as in wa. It is warm and mild. Abawa. Abawa. Anin. Gaiji way buck. Abawa. How is the weather? It is warm and mild. Me quetch. You're welcome. Oh. It is Ningwanaquad and Abawa. We learned those for Ojibwe words. And then, of course, there was the whole diatribe on Thunderheart. And your insistence on calling fictional characters by their actors' names.
Yeah, why do I do that?
I don't know. You always do that. Like when Val Kilmer. Like, does Val Kilmer even... Is Val Kilmer part native?
I don't know. He looks a lot like my dad, actually, when my dad was young.
Really?
Yeah, my dad was... He looked like a movie star when he was a kid.
Your dad look like Val Kilmer?
Yeah.
Does he still look like Val Kilmer?
No, he looks more like Tom Selleck these days.
No way.
Yeah.
La Anamikika Ode Thunderheart. And Debachimo, and it is a story about Thunderheart. A story of cultural identity. I identify as Rachel Levine. She is woman, hear her roar. He's more of a woman than you'll ever be, ladies. Rachel Levine, accept your new queen. Okay, sweetie. Should I talk about the books? Hey, can you talk about Onyx Blood? Oh, sure. Hey, by the way, good job on that song. Hey, thanks a lot. You too. Yeah, it was fun. Okay, here's Onyx Blood. One of the books you can order at Amazon.com by Michael Lyons. It's actually not an Ojibwe language book. Onyx Blood is this a Christmas story or a Halloween story? It's, what do they call that in English majors? I don't know. You were the English major. It symbolizes boarding schools. It's, I'm forgetting the word. Yeah, what is that word? It's, I want to say algorithm, but that's not the word. No, allegory. Allegory! It's an allegory for the Native American boarding school experience. Onyx Blood. Speaking of mixed bloods, Onyx is a half vampire, half elf. She's the little one in the lower right-hand corner. And that's her mom, the dark-skinned elf. And then her dad is a vampire. She's half vampire, half elf. And she doesn't fit in anywhere. She can't change into a bat because she's only half vampire. Doesn't like blood. She doesn't look right. You know, she's got pointy ears. Reminds everybody that she's an elf. Vampires don't have pointy ears. So they send her off to a boarding school to learn how to be a better vampire. And there's a lot of elves who get sent to these boarding schools to learn, because vampires are the dominant culture. Vampires pretty much run the world. You know, they run the colleges and they have all the jobs and stuff. And the elves have been living out in the woods, making cookies. They're like Keebler elves. You know, they've been living this traditional way, but now, you know, the vampires have moved in. And so, you know, her mom and dad fell in love and they had a family, but so it's a mixed family. She has an older sister named Lilith, and Lilith is that girl over her shoulder. She's a full-blooded vampire. That's just her half sister. But Santa Claus is the bad guy. He rounds up the elves when they run away from boarding school, and she meets an alien named Steven, and Steven's been pretending to be a mummy because he doesn't want people to know. In fact, he's a mixed blood too. He's half alien and half human. And so he's been pretending to be Egyptian. And he's got to pretend to be a mummy. And she finds him on a train when she runs away from boarding school. It's a pretty cool story, I gotta say. But Michael Lyons illustrates it. It's about I don't know how long this book is. You can't read it in one sitting. So it's a little more grown up than Little Cutie, a teddy bear's vision quest. There's another book he wrote, but you can read this you can read this as a bedtime story. Onyx Blood has chapters, but it's illustrated and it's written for a kid, like a 4th grader, but a grown-up would want to read it. And it's got all kinds of allegories and stuff. Finally, there's also an English Ojibwe coloring book, and Michael's got, whoops, that's us. And Michael's got a picture. What did I do with that? Here we go. And you can color and learn some Ojibwe. And these are all available at Amazon.com. Click the link below. Otherwise, should we call it a show?
Let's call it a show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miigwech Bizendawieg. Thank you for listening. And miigwech ganawabieg. Thank you for watching BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am Natasha. This over here is NANABOOZHOO.
Okay, miigwech.
This over here is Michael Lyons.
Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
And I will see you again. Gigawabamin. Minawa. Awa. Sweetie, one last time, please.
When to teleport?
See you tomorrow. Make it so, number one. Nah.
All right.
Oh, I'm on top of the house. That's insane. Oh, it's going to be a really pretty day. See you tomorrow.